I'm Linda Tellington-Jones,
And I'm Sandy Rakowitz.
and we're actually delighted to be able to bring to you the elements of the Tellington-TTOUCH. These are 9 elements that we have developed to help you know the nuances of the Tellington-TTOUCH bodywork. And we'll be actually having different segments. This is an overview, so that you'll be getting actually each element explained. And I just want to start with the basic 1 1/4 circle, which, point out, Sandy, is actually a spiral. It's taken us many, many years in the development of this work to realize that. And there's some real magic that happens in that spiral. And when we imagine the basic circle as a clock, and that we put these numbers on the clock, what happens here is you're imagining, which is activating the right side of the brain, really important for our feeling, for developing our intuition, and our compassion. And by putting the numbers on the clock, we actually activate the left brain. And without that, we couldn't function. We have to have that logical side. And what excites all of us who work with this work, because we have so many practitioners working in 37, teaching in 37 countries that we know of. And what Sandy and I are doing now in this course is bringing you the heart of TTOUCH, some real basics to allow you to work with yourselves and work with humans in whatever capacity you're actually used to working.
And that could be with your friends, with your family. If you're a body worker or a health professional, it could be easily integrated. It has been easily integrated into many different modalities.
Yeah. And the question that always comes up in that basic circle is which direction? Clockwise or counterclockwise?
So when we go clockwise, then you start. Do you want me to describe?
No, just like which way do you go? I'm sorry, I wasn't clear. Do you go clockwise or counterclockwise? How do we make that decision? Is there a right way?
There is no right or wrong way in terms of the actual circle. What's really important is the person's experience.
Yeah.
So
How it feels to you.
How it feels to you.
And the strangest thing about this, I find as I'm working on different parts of the person's body, that may change from side to side.
Yes, it's not a stagnant thing. It might be in one area of the body. You find that your hands want to go clockwise and that the person says, yes, that feels awesome. And we'll get to our empowerment scale in a moment. And in another area, can you try it a different direction?
Right. So this is really about bringing a level of knowing of our own body. So that's part of this empowerment that we're going to come to at the end. So let's go into pressure, and we use contact with the body of actually 1 to 10, and 1 connection with the body is like a whispered touch. It's just enough contact that when you are moving the skin on your eyelid in a circle and a quarter with the lightest possible connection so you don't slide, that's your 1. I'm not going to go into the other pressures now because that's a whole piece in itself. Mm-hmm. But the interesting thing is we have 1 to 10 in all the years I've been working on humans besides animals. I've only used a 10 on a few people. It's pretty much always been bodybuilders. But most of the time, just so you know, we're working in the ranges from 1 to 4, sometimes to 5. And that is so much lighter than any of you who are doing massage. You just think, wait a minute, can this really work? But the fact is, we're in a communication at the cellular level. That's our intention. So tempo. Tempo is, do we move the skin? You know, moving the skin in one circle, in a quarter like this, in a 1 second? Or do we do it in 2 seconds? Or do we do it in 3 seconds? And the tempo that we use makes a huge difference. If we want awareness, wake up, or if a person is agitated, you go faster. If you want the most connection, feel yourself. It's that 2-second circle, 2 seconds. And the 3 is really, that's when we see if you want to help yourself or another person go to sleep, really slowing down. We've had some of our people who are TTOUCH practitioners who are therapists find that in hospitals, that they find if a person has used it with high blood pressure or at home, it doesn't have to be in a hospital. The only reason I say that because we have the records from hospitals, is that you can bring the blood pressure to normal ranges. Or with the faster circles, you can raise it if it's too low. One of the things I didn't say to start with, talk about catching the skin. It's one of our basics, actually. That it's this circle in a quarter is moving the skin. Because if you go over the skin, all the results that we get that we've had over all the years doesn't work the same. Might be okay, but it's actually the consciousness of catching and moving the skin with whatever part of your hand that you can use, and that's a whole other segment, because we have many, many different parts of the hand that we use, like more than 20 different parts of the hand to differentiate and bring connection and awareness. The mindful pause. Of all of this, every segment is really important. With the mindful pause, this making the circle and then just giving that person a sense of themselves, a sense to stay present, because that's what the circle and a quarter does. It brings you into the presence. And that pause, you'll be hearing us talk about that a lot during the teachings. Connections. The basic connection between the circles, circle and a quarter, a lightening of your fingers and a slide. Little pause, circle and a quarter, lightening and a slide. And I recommend whatever the connection is of that circle, say I'm using a 3, which is an average pressure, I will ease my hands a little sideways on the pads, so I'm using half as much pressure. So there's no drag. It's not, just feel yourself. It's like a glide to the next circle, so you stay fully present. And that's one of the beauties of this, the breathing, And I do a lot of, it's breathing in through my nose, really feeling my ribs, my whole body into the nose and just out through lightly pursed lips. Being really careful not to blow on the person, of course. and that helps to oxygenate me and keep me present and keep me so that I can work many hours and not be tired.
And the quality of the touch changes dramatically with your breath. So when we're first learning, and we'll talk more about this, but when you're first learning the touches, as with anything, your breath tends to go more shallow as you're focusing, and the quality of what you're experiencing, the person receiving, whether it's yourself or another person, is very, very different depending upon what happens through that breath, because it changes how your the stiffness and the connection through your hands.
And you can feel it everywhere.
Yeah.
And I loved it the other day when we were sharing between each other, and somebody said, you know, just be careful. We were showing someone else, and the comment was, when you lift your little finger, the thing that Elinor said, remind us, that connects you, that actually engages these muscles all the way up into the neck.
Or your thumb.
Or your thumb, if you stiffen your thumb.
Any, yeah.
So that's all part of the learning. It's very precise, actually. The posture, how you are working with a person is really important, that you be comfortable, however this is. And I really use different angles than the traditional massage therapy, for instance, because I want to be able to actually get a lift toward me instead of a push away from me. So we'll be going into that in some of our sessions, and how does that feel to you? Because one of the things that we love about this work, we have many massage therapists, many body workers, many Feldenkrais practitioners who have been in integrating TTOUCH with whatever body work that they do. What we find is that people who tend to work so hard that they are actually hurting themselves as they start to get a little longer in practice, wow, this gives you a sense of your body that will, you can stay comfortable and actually improve your own sense of self and well-being with it. Intention. This is a really big one, and we're going to do a whole segment on this, because our intention is not to heal somebody or fix them. No, it's the basic message that we give to a person is remember your perfection at the cellular level, because what we're working with here is this amazing wisdom of the cells that makes everything work like it does. I don't have to worry about that, and that's actually our intention, is to work at that level with the cells. Now, what we know is that the circular touches, through the study that we saw with Cecilia Wendler's PhD study, is that it significantly lowers pulse, respiration, and blood pressure in people who are fearful. She did a big study with people who are afraid of venipuncture injections. And so we've seen this, but we've also seen it in so many people when you get up off the table and have a different sense of presence, of appreciation for your own body. That's one of the things that we really function on. Rather than seeing what's wrong, it's wow, experience yourself and you're amazing. I see it as beauty, no matter who we are or what age we are. And if I'm working with somebody who is perhaps is not going to make it, they're at end of life situation and they're desperate, I can't say remember your perfection even at the cellular level, but I can say remember your potential for ideal function at the cellular level when you begin to realize the brilliance of our bodies. So this is where we're coming from, not fixing, not looking at what's going on. That's beautiful work, and so many therapies do that so well. This is a very different approach of experiencing, expressing, reflecting our wholeness, no matter what it is and where we're at. And the last one, the empowerment. This is where it's really different from other modalities. And so instead of the person doing something to someone else, that idea is to give the person an experience of choice. So you give them a nice feeling in the body and then say, now would you like a little more pressure or a little less? Or would you like a little faster or a little slower? Or would you like me to just use my hands in a different way? And of course we don't do this with somebody who is in really dire straits, but many people are coming to us for a new level of learning and a new level of being, a new level of well-being. So we're excited. I am so excited, Sandy, to be able to bring this with you. And I really thank you, Elinor Silverstein, standing behind this camera that you don't get to see, because this collaboration that we've been doing to share this work is really fantastic. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Aloha.